Welcome to the class, students. Today we are discussing very important topic in organization of data, that is questionnaire and general principles of questionnaire. Okay, let's see what is the definition of questionnaire. Questionnaire is a list of questions where the answers have to be filled by the informants, and these answers are the required information for the investigation. I repeat, questionnaire is a list of questions answered where the answers are filled by the informants. Informants is nothing but those who give the information about the topic, about our survey. That person we call it as informants. From that informants, we have to make them to fill the answers or give the answers, and these whatever the answers they will give, that we use for our, that information we use for our investigation. Okay, I will write down that questionnaire, this is the definition. Questionnaire is a list of questions where answers are filled by the informants and these answers are the required information for our investigation. Before we are framing a questionnaire, we have some general principles or rules while we are forming the questionnaire. Let us discuss one by one. The number of questions should be less as possible. The number of questions. The questionnaire should not full of questions, or it should be a minimum questions like 10 to 15 like that. If the number of questions is more, they are not ready to answer, or else if the number of questions are more, in the beginning they will write the correct answer, goes on giving the answers or writing the answers, they will get boring, and the information that we have collected from the informants will be sometimes wrong also. Next, the questions should be simple to understand. By looking at the question, by reading the question, they should understand what answer they have to give. That much simple, and the words should be simple as possible. Questions should be arranged logically. Whatever the questions in questionnaire, it should be arranged logically. That means it should be in systematic manner. That is name, next is sex, their age, then their qualification, like that. One by one it should be arranged in a systematic manner. Next, answers to the question should be short type. Short type means if it is possible to write in yes or no type. Okay, it should be in a type of yes or no, so that they will give the answers very quickly, so that it is easy to analyze. As far as possible, questions regarding personal matters should be avoided. There is no personal matters questions in the questionnaire. Whatever the questions in the questionnaire, it should be related to our survey only. Any clarification if necessary regarding any of the questions should be supplied in the form of a footnote. At last the footnote is there. In that footnote we have to give sufficient information. For example, if you have given any short forms, that abbreviations and why we are doing those things, we have to write. Necessary instructions should be given to the informants. This is very important, why we are collecting this data. For that we have to, for about that matter we have to give the information for the informants, so that it is easy to give the answers and it is easy to collect the answers from the informants. Questions which require mathematical rigors should be avoided. Mathematical calculation part should be avoided in the questionnaire, because many of them they don't know to calculate. So during that time, in that situation, the answers taken from the informants will be wrong and it will be mislead. It will be mislead to our survey. A question should be attractive. It should be simple and attractive, and it should be interesting. The questions are so framed that the validity of the information supplied from the informants can be cross-checked. The informants, whatever the data they will give or whatever the information they will give, that can be cross-checked or it can be clarified. Like that we have to frame the questionnaire. And it is questionnaire should also assure that the information supplied will be kept confidential. From whom we have collected, that we should kept confidential. So these are some general principles of framing the questionnaire. Another important topic in this chapter is sampling or methods of sampling. Methods of sampling is very important topic for your exam point of view. First we will see what do you mean by sampling. Sampling is a process of extracting sample from the population is called sampling. Sampling, the process of extracting sample from the population, is called sampling. Okay, the part of the population or the process, because the process means we have different methods to take the samples. So the processing part we call it as a sampling, and the methods of sampling. Methods of sampling. First one is simple random sample, systematic sampling. This is sampling only. Next, stratified sampling. These three are the methods of extracting the sample from the population. Let's see one by one. What do you mean by simple random sampling? For this simple random sampling, the best example is lottery method. You know how you will pick or how you will do the lottery methods. In the same way, we will take the samples from the population. For example, if I want to select 10 members from your classroom with a strength 50. In the classroom we have 50 students. From 50 students I have to collect only, or I have to select only 10 students for my survey. Okay, for that what I will do is, I will write all the names, students names in some slip, and I will put that in some bowls. Then I will shuffle that neatly. Then I will select one by one. So this type of taking the samples, we call it as a simple random sampling. Random is nothing but unknowingly, without knowing we are selecting the students, that we call it as a simple random sampling. And next method is systematic sampling. Systematic sampling is a procedure of drawing samples by selecting equally separated units in a numerically, alphabetically or geographically arranged population. Systematic means first we will collect the data. Okay, after the collection of the data, we will arrange that, we will arrange or we will categorize, we will bifurcate that according to geographicals, according to their geographical areas, alphabetical order or numerical, or if the number is more based on that numerically, alphabetically or geographically, we will bifurcate the data. Then we will take the samples. First we will bifurcate the data, then we take the samples. If we want to select a sample of n items from the population of capital N units, that is capital N units is nothing but the population, number of population, sorry, total population we call it as, or denoted by capital N, and N is the sample observations. Under this method, the population will be divided in equally separated groups. First we will separate the groups, we bifurcate that, then we will take the samples. Such type of drawing the samples or process of drawing the samples from the population, we call it as systematic. Then is stratified. When the population is heterogeneous or of different segments, then this method is applied. Yes, population is heterogeneous, that is we are collecting the population of for example, we are collecting the heights of the men and height of the trees. These two are heterogeneous factors, they do not have any similarities. So, for those type of data, if we want to take the samples, then we will go for the stratified sampling. And first the population is divided into number of subgroups. First we will divide the data into number of subgroups, that we call it as strata. Each stratum is homogeneous. After bifurcating that, after dividing that, the strata, each stratum we call it as one part of that we call it as a stratum, that will be homogeneous. Homogeneous means it is having the same characteristics. That homogeneous, from that homogeneous factors or a stratum, we will take the samples, we will collect the samples randomly. That we call it as stratified sampling. Okay, that we call it as stratified sampling. Another important topic in this organization of data is the difference between the census method and sample survey. Census enumeration and the sample survey. Yes, this is very important, census enumeration and the sample survey. Let us discuss one by one. Census enumeration, next sample survey. I will divide this. The first point is enumeration of each and every unit of the population is called census enumeration. Yes, already we know that what do you mean by census. Census means we will collect the data from each and every person of the population, and we will collect the information about each and every areas, localities, state wise, district wise, like that we will collect, and from each and every home we will collect the data, what are the economic condition of that family and how they are living, their the cost of living, everything we will collect. That is each and every unit of the population. Enumeration is nothing but collecting the information of each and every unit of the population. We call it as census enumeration. Enumeration of each and every unit of the population is called census enumeration. Okay, and next for sample survey, enumeration of few representative units of the population, we call it as sample survey. enumeration of a representative units of the population is called sample survey. This is called sample survey. Next point, non-sampling errors are likely to be more. In census enumeration, errors are more. Non-sampling, we will not go under the sampling methods. So sampling errors will be more, and sampling errors likely to be non-sampling errors are likely to be more. Non-sampling means that is for all population we will consider, so that will be more non-sampling error. But in sample survey, sampling errors are more. Here sampling errors are more. Here it is non-sampling errors are more. There sampling errors are more. Next, this method is not scientific. This is not a scientific method. Okay. This method is more scientific, which is sampling one will be the more scientific method. This is scientific. And fourth point is this method is impossible if the population is infinite. If the population is infinite, we cannot collect the data of that. This is a drawback or a disadvantage in census enumeration. But this method is more suitable for population is infinite. This is more suitable for infinite population. Okay. And the fifth point is this method requires more money, time and labor. Yes, more money, time and labor, because you know that when we are conducting the census enumeration, the government employees, for example teachers or high school teachers, primary school teachers, those will go for each and every area or house to house, family to family, they will collect the data. For that it requires more money because they have to pay, and the time will be important, and the labors, that is number of members, number of workers are very, very important. And for this method is economical. This is economical. It's very simple, and it will not require money, labor, whatever, the time, everything. It will less require that. It is economical. In destructive cases, this method cannot be used. For destructive case, it cannot be used. For example, floods, tsunamis, earthquake. During those times, we cannot collect the data from the particular area. So, this is one of the disadvantages or drawback in census enumeration. But we in destructive cases also, this method is the only method we can use. That is, in destructive cases also, in destructive case also, this is the only method we can use. Using this sampling method, because we already we have collected the population, and using that population and the previous information, we can give the sample survey, or we can give the information about the any flood, tsunamis or any earthquake which occur. During that time we can go through this sampling survey or a sampling methods. So these three whatever we have discussed in class, these three are the important topics from this chapter. You may get these three questions for 5 marks also, or sometimes that questionnaires and the general principles of the questionnaire will carry 10 marks also. But this difference between the sensor enumeration and sample survey is always a 5 marks question, and this is very important topic. And the methods of sampling, sometimes they will ask any 2 methods out of 3 for 5 marks. During that time you have to give a clear explanation about any 2 whatever they are asking. Okay, thank you.